to say at his introductory press conference, taking the time to take a jab at rival Packers head coach Matt LaFleur, saying he couldn't wait to beat them twice a year. Well, LaFleur responded yesterday saying, "It is what it is. I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it." Lions have won 5 of 6 from the Packers.
Well, that's because that dominant O-line's pushed them around. Yeah, this is. I'll tell you, it won't be long if Caleb Williams hits. It won't be long before Chicago is becoming, it does in the NFL for some reason. Being great in the middle of the country matters. Like when Peyton Manning is with the Colts, when the Bears were great, the Packers are great, Kansas City is now as great. NBA tends to feel more coastal at times. Baseball definitely because of money feels way more coastal. College football feels Midwest and Southern. The NFL is better to me when the teams in the middle of the country, off the coasts, are great. Like Philadelphia, is the Northeast, but it's not D.C., Boston, or New York.
You might just be saying that because the Jets and Giants have been down for
maybe
a while.
I am.
But not we don't know what it's like when the Jets are good. It's been like 15 years.
Yeah.
No, we got to bring Mark Sanchez in here to find out what that was like. Final story, Colin, is...
All right. First off, I don't really know what Colin's talking about there in that regard. Like, the NFL is better when, a team like the Chiefs are winning, or, the Colts, that... I doesn't really make sense, but I still do love how people ignore Middle America. If you've actually spent time in there, or driven cross country, and you can see the changes from town to town, city to city, state to state, you can see what each area has and doesn't have. But football always matters, and football ultimately matters to the individual fan base more than anything. People who are on the East Coast do not care whether or not the Chiefs or the Colts are great. And just like how the Chiefs or the Colts don't care how well the Eagles or the Commanders are doing. And the NFL is such a, each team is your own religion. It's fascinating just watching the conversation around the tush push. It's like all the other teams are like, no, this should be banned in terms of the fans that I'm talking about now. And all of the Eagles are like, no, it shouldn't be. It's just 100% you're a fan of your team or you're not. And the general fans, the casual fans, whether you live on the East Coast or if you live in Middle America, it doesn't matter. If the Jags are great, you're going to watch the Jags play. If they're not great, you're not going to watch them play. If it's the Patriots and the Patriots are great, you're going to watch the Patriots. You're going to be excited for the Patriots versus the Bills Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, whatever it is. The Chiefs could easily be the Jags, and it would be just as fun to watch. Right, if Mahomes went to Jacksonville and Andy Reid was coaching in down there, right, essentially the Chiefs were just, they did Kelsey's down there, everything down there, you would be loving it. And you'd be like, oh, isn't football just more fun when Florida's, popping? And you'd be like, yeah, we love when Florida's popping. I don't know. And Chicago is a massive city. It's not I understand it's a little bit more in the middle of the country, but Chicago is a massive city, massive. So, it's a massive market. It's more coastal than anything, honestly, in that regard. So, yeah, I don't know about that. But all right, that was talking about Chicago football, though, right here. Matt LaFleur on Ben Johnson's Trash Talk. Not going to lose too much sleep. Yeah, on one side, I'm so conflicted on some of these types of things because sometimes this stuff is fun and it enhances things and it makes it a little bit more exciting. But then I think it also can sometimes blur into the whole, WWE and stuff like that, which I'm not about. I think when I'm looking at teams that, that you're maybe not a fan of now, if you are more of a general fan, some of this drama, these back and forths can be kind of funny, kind of interesting, kind of entertaining. But if it's your team, if you're a diehard Chicago fan or a diehard Packers fan, you're just kind of I don't want to hear any of this. I don't care. Matt LaFleur, don't even acknowledge it. And Ben Johnson, you're no need for trash talk, right? You're I don't need to hear any of this, right? But again, if you're a more general fan or if you're just more kind of interested on the ongoings of the NFL, then yeah, this is just, it ends up being entertainment. It's just something else to kind of watch, and watch it unfold, and it will build up to the games. When the games are actually played, I'm sure they'll show clips and little quotes from what was happening back in March and April and whatnot. They always like to build that all up. And again, I think that can be fun for someone who's going to be a little bit less invested. But like, if this is my team, my culture, my fan base, I'm like, I don't care about any of this. Don't need any of this. It's annoying. It's not part of the game. It's like it's an annoying part of the game that like I don't care about. But at the same time, you don't want to go too far on the other end of the spectrum when you're kind of like Bill Belichick and the Patriots, where it's just like, and then you're like, well, that's nonsense too. Like, you got to say something here. You got to give us something. I always think it was a disgrace that the NFL even allowed Bill Belichick to kind of be that way. So it's a balance. But the Packers should be losing sleep. That's just the reality, though. Matt LaFleur should be losing sleep. Because the Chicago Bears will be a significantly better team, and they're going to be better. And I was talking to someone in the comment section over the last couple of days, and it's just like the lack of belief in Caleb Williams at this point is just pretty funny. And it's a lot of Justin Fields fans. That's what I'm recognizing and realizing, and it's just bizarre. It really is. What Caleb Williams was able to do in a disorganized franchise with bad coaching, a bad O-line, etc., he showed more poise, more control, more talent, more experience for that matter, as a rookie than Justin Fields did in any season. And people kind of want to jump to the conclusion, well, if you're willing to excuse Caleb Williams' season, then you should be able to excuse like Justin Fields' lack of success. And it's no. And then they'll want to point to numbers. Well, he rushed for this and had this, that. I don't care about any of that. Just watch the games. Watch the throws that are being made. Watch the style of offense that is being run. Look at where the potential is. Someone was like, oh, well, so, Justin Fields won this amount of games. And look at Caleb Williams. And it's like, again, that means nothing. Under that logic, Sam Darnold is better than Lamar Jackson. Good luck with that one. Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady. Best of luck if you're reaching those types of conclusions. So, was Caleb Williams perfect? Obviously not. But the talent and skill set is clearly there. And we know what Ben Johnson can do. And we see what they're building in Chicago. We see it. It's obvious. It's clear. And they're doing the obvious, clear, easy choices, which is a positive, by the way. That's a positive. They're doing the obvious. They're taking the layups. They're not trying to get too fancy. They're doing what they need to do to build their foundation. They're making smart decisions. A lot of easy decisions are the smart decisions. They're not trying to be the smartest guys in the room. They're just doing what needs to be done. They're getting back to football 101. So yeah, a lot of teams should be nervous about what the Chicago Bears can be. And your saving grace is, maybe Ben Johnson won't be a good head coach. Maybe he's just really an offensive mind and he's going to be overwhelmed by all the things that he has to do. And maybe Caleb Williams won't be right. I mean, the truth is if Ben Johnson is a really good coach, let's just say he's a good coach. I don't even have to say really good. We don't have to say great. We don't have to say awesome. Let's just say he's a good coach. It's hard to imagine he's not going to be at least a good coach. As long as Caleb Williams is just a good quarterback, doesn't have to be great, doesn't have to be elite, doesn't have to be special, doesn't have to be generational, just a good quarterback, which again, it's hard to imagine that he can't be at least the 32nd best quarterback in the NFL, like that he can't be at least a starter in the NFL. This team is already going to be significantly better, and legit wins, and legit, at a minimum, a contender within the division, a minimum. You have a competent coach and a competent quarterback, a good coach and a good quarterback. As long as you're building a team that's just, again, decent, semi-decent, You're going to win games. You're going to be trouble. You're not going to be easy wins. You're not, like you're no longer a mess. You're no longer the Washington Commanders pre-Jaden Daniels and Dan Quinn. You're no longer the New York Giants with Daniel Jones and now, Jimmy Cutlets or whatever. Like that alone now, that level of stability is enough to now to be like, all right, this is a team that we now have to worry about. We have to treat seriously. And considering how the Packers have played this last season, like I don't think LaFleur should really be talking a lot about that. And again, I believe in the Packers. I believe in LaFleur. I believe in Jordan Love. But like Matt LaFleur made a lot of mistakes with Green Bay last year, and Jordan Love needed to play better. And again, I defended and explained all that away, but like it's still the reality. So, the only comment to that, if he was like directly asked, oh, what do you think about Ben Johnson's trash talk? You just say, I'm just focused on my own team right now. I'm just focused on my own team. But saying not going to lose too much sleep is also kind of like a dig at Chicago. And I just don't think you're in a place to like be dishing out like anything. Like anything. You're just not. Honestly, you're just not. Really pretty much like no team is, except for potentially the reigning Super Bowl champions. And even then, I'm kind of like, nah. The Eagles should still lose plenty of sleep. They should lose sleep over the Washington Commanders. They should know that Jaden Daniels is coming and that this team is better. They should lose some sleep over the Rams. That's what you do. That's how you stay competitive. That's how you stay grounded in the situation. The Chiefs should be concerned. People could be like, oh, the Chiefs ain't worried about nothing. They've gone to all these Super Bowls. Okay, so they shouldn't be concerned at all about the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, etc. Of course they should be. And we know they are. We know they are. So, I don't know. That's why I always hate kind of stories like this, because you start trying to unpack little sound bites, little sentences that don't really mean that much. Then you try to read between the lines and, it just gets kind of messy. But lots of teams should be losing sleep over the Chicago Bears because I think their stock is rising. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a ton of success. I think Ben Johnson's going to have a ton of success. And, if that doesn't, keep you up at night a little bit, well, then you're probably not taking it too seriously. And then you just look like a scientist in the beginning of a, like a natural disaster post-apocalyptic movie where they're like, no, we don't got to worry about this data. Doesn't mean anything. Only to have the whole world end. So joke's on you. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears stock rising? Being, on the up and up. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.